Hey Argos fans, Adam Orrico here from Argos TV, joined once again by Don Landry from Argonauts.ca. You said last week was going to be a shootout, and it was. History has shown that between these two teams, at least last year, basically a bar fight in both of the games that they played. But you think that it might be a bit of an offensive track meet again.
I get the feeling it's going to be a track meet in Vancouver on Thursday night. And you're right. You also said it was going to be a barn burner against Hamilton, or it could be. So credit where credit is due, Adam. And it was. And last year at Rogers Centre, the BC Lions won a game 18-9 against the Argos. And it was a scrappy defensive affair. It really was. Had the Argo offense been able to move the ball at all against BC, they would have been able to win that game. Now, it's just the way this season has started. It looks like that Argo defense is going to take a little time to gel. Hamilton, Henry Burris, they were able to exploit it. Andy Fantouz, and I think Travis Lulay is going to be able to do the same thing with his fine stable of receivers. And BC showed that they had problems stopping Calgary last week. It's early in the season. All we can go by is what we've seen so far, but it looks like both these defenses can be had a little bit, and both these teams have sensational offenses. So I'll say another barn burner. I think we're in for it.
I'm glad you mentioned the running game that Calgary showed against BC. John Cornish had 24 rushing attempts, which is usually what a quarterback throws in a game. So you expecting a pretty heavy workload for Cackert back there this week?
Well, it seems like that might be a good idea. It's funny to say that because last year the BC Lions had one of the top run defenses in the Canadian Football League. In fact, they were number one when it came to yards rushed against per game, and they were tied for second in average gain per rush. But last week, John Cornish, 24 rushes. What was it, 172, 177 was it? He had a huge game and a touchdown as well. They were able to exploit that BC Lions run defense. Very surprising. And Chad Cackert had an amazing game for the Argos, including a 57-yard touchdown and over 100 yards. So I would suspect that maybe the Argos want to try him left, right, and up the center, at least in the early going, to see if the BC Lions have been able to take care of the problems that plagued them against the Calgary Stampeders.
Sticking with the run defense that the BC Lions had, a reason could be the fact that one of their hole pluggers in Khalif Mitchell is now in double blue. Talk about his return to BC. There's a lot being made about it. He's been great here so far, but a little bit of animosity towards him in the BC Lions organization.
Khalif Mitchell, we know all about him with the BC Lions. Mercurial would be a polite way of putting it. We know that what he was with the BC Lions, but isn't it interesting that he had a conversation with Michael Pinball Clemens at the beginning of training camp and has been super. That's what Michael Pinball Clemens can do to somebody, right? But Khalif Mitchell was a great run stopper and a quarterback hunter for the BC Lions when he was playing his game, and perhaps that has something to do with it. They are still very good in the middle, of course, and in the linebacking core, and they get good run support, but maybe they're trying to figure out life after Khalif Mitchell in the middle. It will be interesting on another level because after Khalif Mitchell was traded to the Argos, you might recall that Andrew Harris, the BC Lions running back, tweeted out, "Good riddance." So, who are going to meet? Is going to be Andrew Harris running left, right, but yes, up the middle. He's going to run into number 96 every once in a while. It'll be interesting to see what kind of a game these two have personally between the two of them. And it's a key for the Argos. Andrew Harris is Chad Cackert, isn't he? I mean, he can run the ball, he can catch it and make things happen. If Andrew Harris is a great receiver and a great running back for the BC Lions, they have a great chance of winning against the Argos or any team. So one of the keys to beating the BC Lions, I think, is making Andrew Harris either one-dimensional or, if you can, zero-dimensional would be even better.
We now move on to the special teams of the double blue, and a guy is making his return that we may have thought that we would never see in Argos blue again, and that's Noel Prefontaine. You spoke to Noel today, and he had a pretty interesting conversation about what him and Mike O'Shea, some animosity between them.
Well, the last time the Argos won in Vancouver was July 9th, 2002, and I read not a summary, but just a quick line about they won it on a touchdown from Mike O'Shea on a missed field goal, and I thought, how could that possibly be? They didn't really win it on the missed field goal returned by Mike O'Shea. They were up by a point, but there's this sensational story about what Noel Prefontaine did in that game and how Mike O'Shea got the touchdown that probably should have been Prefontaine's. Not just Noel saying that, I think Mike O'Shea admits that too. So that's in my blog this week, as well as how the Argos are going to handle what is a difficult situation, and that is playing a 10 p.m. Eastern time game in Vancouver. Eastern teams have real trouble playing in Vancouver, those night games, and talk to a few of the Argo vets about that.
All right, Argos fans, you heard Don. 10 o'clock Eastern time start in BC on Thursday night. So take your nap in the middle of Thursday if you have to. Tell your boss you're not coming on Friday. Say Don Landry and Adam Orrico said you were allowed.
Yeah. If your team can stay up, you can, right?
Right. You heard it. So make sure you guys are up because it's going to be a good one. 10 straight losses for the Argos in BC since 2002. this could be the night that breaks. So for Don Landry, I'm Adam Orrico. We'll see you bright and late on Thursday night.